Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today I'm going to show you my strategy for keeping my buffalo grass weed free in year 2. Alright, here is the buffalo grass patch. This is what I planted last year, and it's starting to green up pretty good. It only started, maybe 2 weeks ago, and right about that time I sprayed quinclorac, and the quinclorac is killing some of this foxtail. You can see all of this foxtail in here. There's a ton of foxtail in this chunk of ground right here. And foxtail seeds will stay dormant in the ground for up to 9 years, but they're not going to be really viable after 2 or 3 years. So what you have to do is control the weeds for 3 or 4 years. Then once your grass is really well established, you're not going to get that many weeds in here, because this stuff gets really thick and you would have to have new seeds coming in somehow to grow weeds. So, like I said, I sprayed quinclorac a week or 2 ago, and that is killing a lot of the stuff, but we still have new weeds that are coming up, and we'll have to kill those as well. But what I'm gonna do is go through and hand weed all of the weeds that I think are going to go to flower within the next week or so. And then once I'm done hand pulling the weeds, I'm going to go over this entire patch and spray it with a pre-emergent. What the pre-emergent does, you spray it, then you wash it in with water. It gets down into the soil and it coats the weed seeds, or it coats every seed, and it won't allow them to sprout. This stuff grows by stolen. You can see one right here. It'll send out all of these runners. This is from last year and it's dead, but it'll send out hundreds of these runners, and those will spread the buffalo grass, and anything that grows by seed is not going to be able to grow. This right here is active stolen. These are just like those spider plants. This is a whole new plant right here, and eventually that will likely send some roots into the ground. You can see, that one hasn't done it yet, but they're going to fill in this spot right here, and the pre-emergent isn't going to stop that. So hand weed right now anything that I think is going to go to flower within the next week or so. Then I'm going to spray my pre-emergent and water that in. Then I'm going to come back in a couple days and spray quinclorac again. And hopefully that'll be it for a good while. There'll be a few weeds that make it, and I'll hand pull those, but the pre-emergent should stop the rest of the weeds from growing this year. Should probably tell you the reason that I'm pulling all the weeds that I think might go to flower, and it's because I don't want the seeds in here. I want to get rid of all of the weed seeds within a couple years, and then this area will be real easy to hand weed. There'll just be a weed or two here or there, kind of like this right here, and as I'm walking by, I can just pull that. If you just let these weeds go, eventually they will probably take back over and crowd out your buffalo grass. This stuff was all sprayed, but even if you spray stuff, it may hurry up and go to flower. So I'm not going to take the chance. I'll pull it out anyways. And what I do is reach down and find the base and grab onto the base. if you just grab it up here, you're going to pull out a bunch of buffalo grass. All of this stuff here, the yellower colored stuff, this is all foxtail. And from the look of this, it was sprayed with the quinclorac because of the overly yellow color. It looks like it was sprayed when I did that last spray, and it's on its way out. But I'm not really pulling any of this stuff because it's not going to go to seed before I can spray, and I'll be spraying it real soon. Yeah, there's a bunch of it right there. This foxtail, if you've never seen it, there's several different kinds. There's green, yellow, and giant. And the giant will get, yeah, that's already gone to seed. The giant will get maybe 5 feet tall or so, possibly even bigger than that. Yeah, this is curly dock. And this was sprayed. That's why it looks sickly like that, but it still went to seed. And it would drop seeds here, and I would have to deal with it again next year. We don't want that. All right, I've been looking for one of these. If you see a grass that's different from the buffalo grass, like this, that's a weed as well. And those chunks will take over soon as well, like this right here. Now, the hole that I just made, you can see there's a stolon right above it. I can push that into the hole, and a new buffalo grass plant will start right there. There's a big kitty. This kitty right here had a stroke, so he has a few issues. It's okay, big kitty. All right. I will get back with you if I see anything else I need to mention. Yeah, like this stuff right here, that was already sprayed, and what the sprays do generally is cause abnormally fast growth, which kills the plant. But if it's near flowering, the abnormally fast growth is just going to send it into flowering right away. Okay, I'll get back with you in a bit. All right, I got 2 full buckets full of weeds. That right there is a walnut tree. See that? Half a walnut there. There's another one here. Black walnut. It's a weed when it's in here. We have tons of walnuts down in the woods. No need to replant it or anything. Let me show you the weeds I pulled before. I pulled a lot more weeds than I needed to, but oh well. It's definitely not going to hurt anything. And there you have it. It's going to dry out there and it'll get burnt, and hopefully it's not going to reseed anything. All right. Now I'm going to go mix up the Prodiamine, or however you pronounce that, and get this sprayed. Okay. Fresh jug. I did used to get this in a smaller container, and it's just way cheaper in this larger container, and I'm gonna have to spray this stuff for the next several years in several different patches of buffalo grass. So I won't be spraying this in the Blue Grandma because that needs to reseed by seed. So when you're figuring out how much of this stuff to use, there's a formula to figure out how much you need per 1,000 square feet and how much water you're going to use for 1,000 square feet. For me, it's 1 gallon equals 1,000 square feet. And this stuff, you can have 1.1 teaspoon to 3.1, something like that. And I'm going to mix it at the stronger strength, 3 teaspoons per gallon, which comes to a tablespoon. Let's see if I can get it out of here without tipping it. That's about right. So 3 tablespoons, we have a 3-gallon sprayer. And I can't remember if this stuff is visible or not when you spray it. I was thinking it was, but I'm probably gonna, I don't know. I hate to add dye if it's not needed, but I will probably add the dye. You don't want to add surfactant because this gets washed off of the leaves. It's not meant to stay on the leaves of the plants. This is meant to go on the ground and get washed in. So once I spray the entire area, I'm going to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to go in with the sprinkler and wet the entire area so that it gets a 1/2 inch of water. So we're going to add a bit of dye. I don't think I'll be able to see that. And what you're doing with the dye is just trying to get it on evenly. You want to be able to see where you're spraying it. I have a big wide fan tip on there. Alright, now what I got to do is shake this up, then I'll fill it up, and we'll go spray. And again, this is sticking to all the leaves and stuff, but I'll be coming back and watering this in, and this will all wash into the soil and coat the seeds that are in the soil and not allow them to sprout. Hopefully 1 tank covers this whole field, but that remains to be seen. And this is not going to harm any insects or amphibians or anything else. There is a lot of foxtail in here. So like I said earlier, I'm going to get back in here and spray it again in a day or two. That'll kill the foxtail. And this spray should keep everything from coming up in the first place. Anything new. And then I'll go back and hand weed anything that escapes, but hopefully there's not going to be too much of that. I don't have a lot of time because, like I said, I'm going to be planting that whole area and the entire orchard and another big area over that way. And I'm going to need to tend to those. So I don't have a huge amount of time for this. I don't want to go too far into the bluegrass up there because I do want any bluegrass seed. The bluegrass just went to seed a little while ago. I do want any bluegrass seed that's on the ground to sprout. I only want this stuff in the buffalo grass here. Okay, my watering should be done. When I first started watering on the other end, I put my rain gauge in there, and I came back after a half hour to check on how much how much water I had put on it. I want to put a ½ inch on it, and I found out the bottom was gone out of the rain gauge. So I did about 45 minutes on either side and about an hour in the middle, and that should be good enough. I should also tell you that, let me get out of the way of this, don't want a wet camera. When you're spraying quinclorac, which I did a week ago, if it doesn't rain in 2 to 7 days, you're supposed to water that in as well with a ½ inch. So this is actually serving a double function. It's watering the quinclorac and the Prodiamine. I started doing this at about 10 o'clock this morning, and it's now, what is it, about 6 o'clock at night. I took off for about 3 hours in midday because it's so insanely hot today. It's super hot, super humid, and we have high ozone levels and bad air coming out of Canada from some forest fires they have going up there. So just a really nasty day. It's hard to breathe and very, very hot. Yeah, that foxtail is really evident now. Hopefully this watering will activate that quinclorac a bit, and it'll take that foxtail out. Otherwise, I will have to come in here and spray again. I will anyways, but I'll have to do it earlier. Yeah, no bottom. We've gone through a couple of these. You set them up in the spring, and they get a little bit of rain in them, and then you forget about it, and you have a frost night, and it breaks them. I have to get rid of this. So, that's about it. Spraying with quinclorac to kill the weeds, and spraying with Prodiamine to stop the weeds from coming up altogether. I'm only going to spray the Prodiamine one time, but you can spray it 3 times a year. I don't think I'm going to be doing that. Since the buffalo grass started greening up this year, there's been 0 rain, not a drop. So this ½ inch or maybe a little bit more of water is really greening it up. it looks way greener than when I started this morning. Well, part of that is from the blue dye, but yeah, that is way greener than it was this morning. I'll bet it's really, really green tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be moving the sprinkler down into that lower area, and I'll really soak that. I'll get everything. What that'll do is force anything that hasn't sprouted yet. It'll force it to sprout. You could see that a lot of stuff has sprouted already. Once that gets a little drier and I can walk in there, maybe 2-3 days, I'll go down there with glyphosate and kill that all again. I'll do it one more time, and then I'm going to plant buffalo grass down there. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.